and welcome. We're going to talk about a throttle position sensor. That's it there. Now it's an important parameter for the ECU. As you open the throttle there, a shaft runs through the butterfly valve out the other side and rotates a rheostat in there. Now this is fixed. I've marked it there where it's a correct adjustment, so you can adjust it like that, move it backwards or forwards. Now you can see when I move it there, the throttle moves slightly, so this is very sensitive to adjustment. It only turns through the quadrant is only 90 degrees as that opens, so it is very sensitive to adjustment. Now in the Lancia manual, it describes adjusting it like this. You slacken off this nut here, this bolt. There's another one at the bottom. There's 7 milli bolts. Slacken them off, slacken the bottom one off, and then you can freely rotate the TPS. Now what you should do is rotate it once or twice, backwards and forwards, and then let it rest. So the idea is it comes to rest, balance. There's a spring in there and a spring on there. The two springs balance each other out and in theory center this TPS. So with the absence of electronic sensors and voltage measuring equipment, that is the way to do it. So turn it that way, make sure it flops about, and then just leave it, and the two springs balance each other out. So I have marked it, and you can mark it with Tipex where it balances out, so when you come to do these nuts and bolts up, if you do move it a bit, you'll be able to check the adjustment. But let's see how the car starts. That's idling well. So if we move this now, we haven't tightened it up, we move it. The idling will be out of balance and the throttle movements will be sending the wrong signal to the ECU. So we just let it balance itself out, and then we mark it. That should be fine. So when you've marked it like that, and you're happy with the adjustment, we can do the nuts and bolts up. So there's 7 milli. So we can do this top one up tight. So it'll keep it in place, because the bottom one is difficult. You will drop your spanner, so be ready. I've tightened the bottom one. I didn't actually drop the spanner down, although I did when I was undoing it. So have a coat hanger ready or a magnetic thing to pick your spanner up. So that's done, tight. It's in balance, so to me that's adjusted correctly. So what we'll do is we'll go to the bench and we'll take the TPS apart and see what's inside. See you in a minute. Within the casing there's a foam gasket, and it's held together by these little screw rivets. So I've taken those out. It's quite easy to pry it apart and pull the rivets out. So let's have a look inside. And the foam gasket sits in there. There's our TPS with the lid off. That's what's inside it. The shaft going through the butterfly valve goes through there, and as we press the accelerator and open the butterfly valve, it rotates. So it only rotates through 90 degrees. So that's, you can see there, the 3 wipers working on the composite strip, the resistance arc. So it just goes through that 90 degrees, minimum resistance at that end, maximum resistance at that end. So it's got a lot to do in those 90 degrees. It's got a lot of things to send to the ECU, so it it's quite carefully calibrated. So that's that. There is an adjustment on the end here for idle. Now, you can see the elongated holes, which allows for adjustment. I'll move that out of the way, and that is our instructions. Loosen the bolts, top and bottom. Rotate the sensor until it is at the end of its travel on each way, and then let it go. The two springs, so there's the spring inside the sensor and the butterfly valve return spring, oppose each other to determine the exact position of the sensor. So when it does that, just basically let it spring into its own position, and then, as we did on the car, do the two little nuts up. So there is a note at the bottom. It is advisable, given the importance of this operation, on the initial adjustment of the system, always carried out with the field Lancia tester. So that probably is advisable, but if that's the initial adjustment, it might mean you're allowed to do it yourself in all the subsequent adjustments, which is what I've chosen to do in this instance. So the car starts, the car runs fine, idle's good. I haven't taken it out for a road test, but I will do, but I'm pretty confident it'll be okay. I've pressed these in. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.